There obviously has been a lot of negativity surrounding the A's, and I'm not necessarily agreeing with much of it and thinking most of it is actually just based on a bunch of lies.
You are Locked On A's, your daily Oakland A's podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On A's, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. I am your host, Booney. That's right, one name. Episodes will drop Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. That's Oakland time, Vegas time, and yes, Sacramento time. Whether you are on your way to work, driving back from work, or listening casually during the day, thank you for making Locked On A's your first listen of the day. I'm from the Bay Area, and I've been a die-hard A's fan since 1981. And I'm here to bring you a real fan's take, covering everything from Oakland to Sacramento to Las Vegas. This is the place for A's fans to get the latest game breakdowns, team news, and more. This is where the passion of the fans take center stage. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. And please hit that subscribe button wherever you are following the show. This episode is brought to you in part by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return of FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. The A's payroll is reportedly expected to increase to $100 million. This news has fans looking at this with some sort of skepticism. That is later. The Athletics will be playing games at Sutter Health Park in Sacramento, and all the news surrounding that has been negative to say the least. Is it really going to be that bad, or is there a big positive we can take something away from all of this? That's in about 10 minutes. First, nothing but negativity surrounding the A's, and I am simply over it. I understand that negativity in today's society sells. We don't turn on the news to hear about feel-good stories and positive events happening around us. We want to hear about the bad stuff. There is a reason why John Fisher gets 100 times the attention that Brett Rooker does when you're talking in terms of news surrounding the A's. There is no questions that the A's have struggled on the field for the last few years. Much of the blame has gone on ownership and their commitment to win. But is that entirely accurate? If you look at this from a proper perspective, have we all been fed a bunch of lies that we have all started to believe? Let's take a look. The A's move to Las Vegas initially started with a lack of attendance. The lack of attendance was blamed on a number of things, but focused really on two things. One was the falling apart of the Oakland Coliseum. And secondly, the Athletics' ability, or lack of, to field a competitive team on the field. Let's look into that. First, let's take a look at the Coliseum. Last season, I went to approximately 40 to 50 games and have remained slightly below that number or around that number for as long as I can remember. Now, the Coliseum, it's old, it's falling apart, it has a lack of amenities, the food sucks, and everything that has to do with what you would expect from a major league ballpark is well below standards. No question. Visually speaking, not pretty. Mount Davis is just straight up ugly. No other way to put it. It used to be a gorgeous ballpark. Mount Davis has ruined that. But the actual viewing of a baseball game, for me, is no different than watching a game at AT&T Park. There is no question that the A's were far overdue for a new stadium. With that being said, there was nothing deterring me from going to the stadium to watch a baseball game. What I did 90% of the time while at the ballpark was watch the game. And viewing the game, like I said, was no different for me than any other park. Now, the other 10% of the experience being at the stadium stunk. But each individual has their own experience for how much time they're going to spend watching a game, doing things before a game, or taking advantage of amenities most ballparks do have. Let's look at fielding a competitive team. Like I said earlier, the A's have struggled for the last 3 years. No question about it. But practically every team in Major League Baseball has struggled over a 3-year span in the last 25 years. The idea and thought that the A's are not competitive in MLB is just simply a lie. In the last 25 years, the A's have had 15 winning seasons, which includes the last 3 where they have done nothing but lose. The 15 winning seasons in the last 25 years ranks 7th in all of baseball, behind the Dodgers, Yankees, Cardinals, Braves, Red Sox, and Astros. The stereotype of the A's franchise is that it is a joke, it is a loser, it is going to be played in a joke minor league ballpark, non-competitive. All these assertions we hear are based simply on lies. 100%. We sit here and yell at the top of our lungs, sell the team. You don't spend money on the team. You don't sign any players. You are trying to lose. The strategy the A's take to fielding a competitive team on the baseball field, yes, is different. But history has shown it does work. How did it work out for the Giants signing Blake Snell last year or Jorge Soler? How is Carlos Correa's massive contract working out for the Twins? Yes, the A's have had 3 straight losing seasons. Go check out and see how many other teams have had 3 straight losing seasons. The Anaheim Angels haven't had a winning season in 9 years. Look at the A's success in the last 25 years compared to the rest of baseball. So at the end of the day, the criticism of the A's franchise is basically based on the amenities at the Coliseum. Is that what I'm hearing? Because really, that is the only thing that is true. You want to complain about John Fisher, who he is as an owner, what he has done as this franchise, and how he has gone about it? Go ahead. Much of that criticism is deserved. But for the media and fans to take this narrative that the A's are not competitive is a joke. It is not true. History, numbers, and facts tell us a different story. And 3 years is not enough to draw a conclusion from. What else has drawn a lot of criticism is Sutter Health Ballpark. And I am going to continue with my theme of disagreeing with the public assertion out there and why I think Sutter Health Ballpark may be a new way to watch baseball. Up next. Today's episode is brought to you in part by FanDuel. When I personally look at a sports book, there are two things that are most important to me. Is it easy to deposit? And more importantly, is it easy to withdraw? FanDuel checks both boxes for me. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Now, there is a lot of skepticism regarding the A's, so I have to be specific. What I am referring to is the skepticism in playing in a minor league ballpark in Sacramento, which presents a fascinating and potentially game-changing story in Major League Baseball. The A's playing games at Sutter Health Park in Sacramento could turn out to be something very positive and something that may revamp the way baseball is watched. Let's start with former Dodger relief pitcher Ryan Brazier's take on the A's playing in Sacramento. On the BB Is It Boring podcast, he sarcastically questioned how sick it would be to play Major League Baseball games in Sacramento or a Yankees spring training facility, referring to the Tampa Bay Devil Rays playing in the Yankees spring training facility in Florida. He doubled down by criticizing everything from the A's organization to the stadium setup, saying he'd rather play in an empty Oakland Coliseum than at a packed minor league ballpark. But let's break it down. Is the environment at the Coliseum really better when there's practically no crowd? Sure. The facilities might be better. Sure. The facilities might be bigger. But baseball isn't just about the field. It's about the fans, the energy, and the experience. Something Oakland hasn't experienced for the last several years. Yes, there's skepticism, plenty of it. Like former Dodger reliever Ryan Brazier said, calling it BS and questioning why the A's would play in a minor league park rather than stick to Oakland's nearly empty stadium. But I think there's more to this than meets the eye. And maybe, just maybe, this could pave the way for a revolutionary spectator experience in professional sports. Let's talk about it. Sutter Health Park, capacity and atmosphere. Sutter Health Park holds about 14,000 fans, and in Sacramento, it's guaranteed to sell out. Imagine every single night feeling like a playoff game with roaring crowds, packed stands, and a buzz that makes the game electric. Sacramento fans are legendary for their passion. Look at the Sacramento Kings. They went from being a small market underdog to one of the loudest arenas in the NBA. This same energy will translate to baseball, creating an intimate yet electrifying atmosphere. Comparing this to Oakland. Let's be real. Drawing 2,000 fans to the Coliseum doesn't compare. Playing in front of an empty stadium sucks the life out of the game for players and fans alike. Sutter Health Park, on the other hand, will be bursting with energy. The fans will literally be on top of you. 15,000 fans with the energy Sacramento has will sound like there's 60,000 fans in there. Could this be a new vision for baseball? This move could represent something bigger than just the A's finding a temporary home. Rethinking ballparks, smaller, more intimate stadiums could become a model for struggling teams. Instead of playing in half-empty major league stadiums, why not create experiences where every game feels personal and intense? A smaller venue means tickets are more coveted. By playing in Sacramento, the A's are connecting with a loyal, sports-loving community. This isn't just a stopgap. It's a way to ignite passion for baseball in a city that deserves the spotlight. To skeptics like Brazier and everyone else out there, here's the question. What's more important, modern facilities or the soul of the game? Baseball thrives on energy, passion, and fans who truly care. And let's be honest, baseball as a whole has been struggling regarding a fan base. Bigger does not work for baseball, and it hasn't. We've seen that. This is a change. And I think this change, being in Sacramento, is going to be a change that is adopted by many major league teams in the future. Sure, Sacramento's facilities might not be MLB standard, but the energy of 14,000 die-hard fans trumps a dead, silent stadium any day. Plus, this experiment, like I said, could inspire other teams with attendance struggles to think outside the box. Sutter Health Park offers the A's something they've been missing in Oakland: a full house, passionate fans, and a playoff-like atmosphere. For every game, it's a chance to create something special, not just for the team, but for baseball as a whole. Playing in Sacramento isn't a step down, it's a step forward. It's about creating a better fan experience, one that brings the heart of baseball back to the forefront. To the doubters, stick around. You might be surprised on how, as Ryan Brazier said it, sick this really is. Reports have surfaced that the A's are reportedly to increase payroll in 2025 to $100 million, which has received some skepticism. Not a surprise. The one side is basically saying that if this is indeed true, the A's had no intention of winning while in Oakland, which history has proven differently. They have won. And increasing a payroll does not equal wins. On the flip side of that coin, we've been fed a lot of lies from John Fisher. And is this just another lie? It might be. As we all know, for years, the A's have operated on a shoestring budget, to say the least, justifying it with the promise that once their ballpark situation was resolved, they'd finally start spending. Well, now with their Vegas relocation inching closer, it looks like they're ramping up their payroll, possibly to around $100 million, per Bob Nightingale from the USA Today. Why now, you ask? Well, because right now they are back in the revenue sharing program in the MLBPA, Major League Baseball Players Association, is watching closely. Why does revenue sharing matter? Here's the deal. Revenue sharing allows small market teams like the A's to receive financial support from larger market teams. But there's a catch. They have to use those funds to remain competitive. If the A's can't show they're putting the money to good use, the union could challenge their participation. That's a risk the A's can't afford, especially with their move to Las Vegas on the line. Let's look at the numbers. In 2023, their payroll was $63.4 million. 2024, $35 million. And a franchise high payroll in 2019 of $98 million, which still ranked 25th in all of baseball. The $100 million goal. If the A's really want to hit $100 million, they'll have to add $65 million in contracts this winter. That's a huge jump, especially for a team that struggled to attract talent in recent years. Now, I talked about this on Monday. We got to take on bad contracts in trade. That's the only way we are going to get any type of help we need, and hope they can get back to the form they once were. On Monday, I spoke about a few players the A's could potentially target. Robbie Ray of the Giants, Candelario of the Reds, and I believe Jordan Montgomery of the Diamondbacks. All three teams, respectively, the Giants, the Reds, and the Diamondbacks, are looking to move those players. The other player in the news we've heard about lately has been Cody Bellinger of the Cubs. Here's the key. Not only do we need to trade for these players and pick up their awful contracts, but we can't really give up anything either, right? The A's don't want to deal away any type of prospects, nor should they, and they have a ton of them. The basic goal of the trade is simply the cash. What's positive for the Giants in unloading Robbie Ray, for the Reds in unloading Candelario, and for the Diamondbacks unloading Montgomery is simply the contract. Getting anything in return is a distant second. They just want to unload the contract. On Bellinger, the problem with Bellinger, he still has some sort of upside. He has shown signs of consistency. So the Cubs are going to want something in return, and I think they're going to get it. Tony Clark, head of the Major League Baseball Players Association, made it clear earlier this year the A's need to use revenue sharing money responsibly. If they don't, the union could challenge their eligibility, with the relocation to Vegas hinging on staying in this program. The stakes couldn't be higher. If they fail, losing revenue sharing would be catastrophic. Without it, the A's financial model could collapse, jeopardizing their ability to complete the Vegas move and potentially forcing ownership to make drastic changes. Expect the A's to make some moves this offseason. We've already seen them active. They have not been successful, but yes, active. And whether these moves equate to winning is yet to be seen, obviously. Big name trades, even short term, could appease the union while giving the team flexibility to sell high at the trade deadline. Ultimately, the A's are playing a high stakes game. If they execute well, they could arrive in Vegas with a revamped roster and a secure future. But if they stumble, their struggles in Oakland might just follow them to the desert. The Athletics are at a crossroads, with the pressure mounting from the Players Association and their move to Las Vegas looming. This winter will define the next chapter for the franchise. Will they finally spend big and start building a competitive team? Or will this be another case of empty promises? Only time will tell. What I do know is that the A's have been competitive. The A's will continue to be competitive. And the amount of prospects the A's have in their pipeline are strong, are healthy, and are good. The idea and thought of the A's continuing to be a losing organization is something I challenge. is something I don't agree with and something I am going to push back at. Whether you continue to be an Athletics fan or not is up to you. And I understand either way. But the notion that the A's have been uncompetitive, losing, and have been putting a bad product on the field is something that's just not true. The A's 3-year drought is no different than any other team. But the narrative that the A's history and or recent history is based on losing is a narrative I don't agree with, and a narrative that history disagrees with to the utmost. If you have not had a chance to see Beyond the Coliseum, the game show, I suggest you do. It was an exciting game show. Awesome questions, great categories. Contestants were beautiful. Please tune in. And again, if you do want to participate as a contestant in the near future, email us lockedonathletics@gmail.com or message us at LockedOnA's on Twitter or X. Thank you for making Locked On A's your first listen today. For your second listen, 5 Locked On MLB. Baseball guru Sully brings a daily blend of humor and baseball, keeping you updated on every rumor and story throughout the off season. Find Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I will see you back on Friday. Take care.